I want you to imagine something. Your calendar is packed. Your inbox is full. You're getting stuff done. You're moving fast and you're keeping up with everything on your plate. And honestly, you're proud of that. And then you find out that there's this major cross-functional initiative that was put together, the kind that's going to give people great visibility. And your name wasn't on the list. Welcome to How to Get What You Want. This podcast is for driven women ready to claim their goals and navigate their careers with clarity and confidence. Join me as we explore real stories, tools, and strategies to help you steer your career exactly where you want to go. Let's get started on helping you get what you want. Hey friend, it's Susie. I am so happy that you made the choice to be here today because today I want to talk about something I see most talented, capable leaders that I know have no idea it's happening to them. And it's called a scarcity mindset. I want to be really clear about something right from the start. It's not about fear. It's not about insecurity. It's about what pressure does to all of us and what it quietly costs us if we don't catch it. Here's the thing about scarcity mindset. Most people hear that phrase and they picture someone who's anxious or self-doubting. And that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you, the director, the VP, the leader that has a track record, a strong team, real results. And you're not someone who lacks confidence. But when pressure shows up for you or your team, when there's change happening, downsizing, shifting priorities, pressure in the industry, too much on your plate, something happens. You zoom in. You get tactical. You start managing the urgent. And it feels good. But slowly, quietly, your strategic mind doesn't get prioritized anymore. What's interesting is that research actually backs this up. Studies in cognitive scarcity show that when we're under pressure, our brains literally narrow their focus. We tunnel in on what's right in front of us. And probably that's because there's just so much noise. We need to focus on something. It's not a character flaw. It's actually our neurological response to feeling stretched thin. I can feel it. When I feel like I have too much going on, I feel that in my body. But here's what's expensive about it. When you're zoomed in, you become invisible. And you become invisible at the exact moment when visibility can matter most. We're so busy, we forget. And I'll tell you, this is happening right now. I see it in every client conversation that I have. And I'm going to share with you some of the advice I give people. I want you to really think about this because, as I said, it's not something you notice. It kind of slips in. I'm working with a high-level executive team. It's a mix of men and women, and they're dealing with a lot. There's a lot of leadership changes. They've had to make some hard choices about the organization, and they've actually had a recent downsizing. Even though that all these things are happening, they still have the same goals, right? That probably sounds familiar. We still have to reach the optimization of the operation or the additional revenue that we already put in the budget for this year. But we've just cut a bunch of heads. Still has to get done. So you know how they're spending their days? Tactically. I can see it in the way they talk amongst themselves, what they say about what they're working on. I've noticed it in how they're interacting with their teams because I start to hear their teams say, we go for updates and we'll bring stuff up and the leader won't get us focused and we have to have another meeting after. I'm observing this day in and day out. And it came to such an important inflection point the other day because they were involved in a very strategic meeting and none of them took the initiative to get the slides and all the things they needed for the discussion complete. They left that for their leader to do. And it was fascinating to me because it made me realize that they're sucked into this getting things done, this treadmill of things, jumping in, because the reality is it does feel good. When we have pressure, jumping in and doing something that we're familiar with, that we've done before, that we can get done, that's really satisfying. But what happens is it takes away from the way we need to think bigger, broader. And no matter where you are in your career, I want you to think about this because it will happen to you even if it's not happening to you now. And that's a scarcity mindset, a mindset where the context of what you're thinking about zooms in on something that isn't helpful to you in the future. It's a missed opportunity. But it becomes something that just happens. It's sneaky. It comes in and we don't even realize it's happening. So thinking about your bandwidth, when I say this to you, you might go, but Susie, how can I zoom out? I have meetings that go end to end on my calendar. I have a to-do list that I need to get done. My people feel overwhelmed. I need to pick up stuff for them. I don't want to just give them more. And I'm zoomed in, I can't see the forest through the trees. But it's important to make that space because when you are looking down and not looking up and around, you might miss opportunities where you'll be tapped on the shoulder to be a part of that strategy meeting. Or you might miss an opportunity to be thinking about what's next for your team. And that's more important than what's happening right now. Someone else might be building the relationships that you need to build. And they may be having the exposure that you wish you had. And that person might not even be as talented as you. But you're invisible because you're there doing the hard work. Companies have to make hard choices about the people that are doing the work. And sometimes I've seen people get laid off recently that were the ones that put their head down, and the companies will realize later that they got rid of a workhorse. But it can't just be that. You have to really think broader. I put together 3 signs of a scarcity mindset, and I want to get really specific because I want you to think about, is this happening to you? The first one is, like I said, are you managing your day by your calendar? Are you going in every day and looking at what you have going on and you look at it and you see it all filled in and you're like, well, this is going to be a full day. That's not the intent of your calendar. It's supposed to be a tool. It's not a way to prioritize what you need to be doing. If your days are full of meetings, look at them and figure out what you need to be a part of. Start understanding if you need to opt yourself out, if you can send somebody else, if this meeting could be an email, or does it need to be an hour long? I have so many of the companies I work with that they just get in the habit of scheduling an hour. Start to say, let's do this in 40 minutes and see what happens. Or 25 minutes. Change them up so people notice. Those habits become cultural, and you could be the thing that changes that breaks more than just you out of that mindset. The second one is look back at your calendar, look back at your week, and look at what you spent your time on. Where was your focus? This is subtle too. And maybe you do it at the end of the day and think, what did I actually dive into today? Where did all my time go? Was it to emails, to questions, something that somebody brought to your door that as soon as they get there, you're like, I'm in, I'll go do that. Was it worth your attention? Some of that's leadership. You can't just let it go. You can't just say, I'm sorry, I'm working on something else. But if it's most of your day, most of your time, that's really scarcity in action. It's taking over for you. This whole idea of a scarcity mindset is zooming in on something that doesn't work for you. And the third signal is when you're not being invited to meetings that matter. Have you recently found out about something and thought, why wasn't I involved in that? That was something that I'm usually involved in. Sometimes that just happens by accident. People are like, oh, we need to talk about that. Oh, will you include me in on that? Because somebody is around. So don't overreact to this, But it's worth asking yourself why. Are you being included? Are you asking your boss? Are you too busy to say, what's coming up that I should be involved in? What could give me some additional exposure? What could stretch me as a leader? So even if those meetings aren't happening, how can you ask the people around you to get involved in more things that can broaden your perspective? So here's what you need to do. If you've identified one of those things, or you can just tell that you're in a mindset of, I got to get things done. I'm in execution mode, and that's all I've done. As you go up an organization, you need to be looking out. You need to be thinking. You need to be anticipating about, what does my team need? What does the business need? How can I look at this differently? Those are all things that leaders need to be thinking about. So here's your moves. Here's your tips. This is what I want you to think about. Each week, choose one strategic initiative and set a specific goal about it. Maybe it's you want to spend an hour to look at the industry and what other people are doing in new technologies, in AI, in new tools. How can you look forward? Maybe it's you take time to think about and imagine where the team needs to be in 6 months. Maybe it's looking at, how would we double our revenue if I was asked to do that? What if I was asked to get rid of 3 people? What would I do? Those kind of ways of thinking help stretch your mind. It helps you get out of it. We know from research that leaders who consistently carve out even small amounts of time for strategic thinking are more likely to be recognized as leadership ready. One focused hour a week is a negotiation with your own future. Can you carve out that time? I have a client that carves out 5 a.m. in the morning because she's so busy, but she says she just exposes herself to a lot of different magazines, articles, technologies, just to get her mind exercising. The second one is build relationships with people who shape strategy. This is one that can invest in your influence. It can give you exposure, and it can help you think differently. So think about somebody that you look at that may be senior to you. It could be in your company or outside of your company, and spend time with them. Get curious. How do they get involved in initiatives? How do they spend their time thinking strategically? Be understanding to them to take some of those best practices with you. You may not do that all at once. Maybe you pick 1% at a time if you're overwhelmed, but start to gather insights, intel, write them down. And that's how you start thinking like a negotiator, because negotiators ask a lot of questions, get curious, and they capitalize on things that are working for others. So think about it like that. You're investing in your negotiator mindset. And the third one is to make that time to think big. I said it in the first one. What can you do to give yourself 30 minutes in your schedule in 1 week? And ask big questions of yourself. Maybe find an accountability partner and just go back and forth and say, let's just think broader and bigger than we ever have. What would that look like? And don't allow anything to limit the way you think. Imagine that you're in charge. What would you do? Imagine if we were running this business, what would we do? Think big, anticipate opportunity, and make the time to do it. Give your mind that opportunity. I read some research recently that because we're so connected, we don't give our brains the time to just imagine. So maybe it's just meditating or taking time to journal. What can you do to slow down so that you can allow your mind to speed up? So here's what I want to leave you with. Just one question to sit with this week. Where in your work right now are you managing the urgent at the expense of the strategic? You don't have to fix it today, but you do have to see it, because once you see it, you can make a different choice. So we're going to have a 72-hour challenge. Now, if you don't know, the research proves that if you listen to something, if you hear something, if you read something, and you don't apply it in 72 hours, it doesn't stick. Don't make this for nothing. Don't make this just entertainment. What do you do with this? I want you to be an observer of yourself over the next 48 hours. Notice your mindset. Notice what grabs your attention. Be an observer. And after 48 hours, write down what you have experienced, what you see. Just write it down and then decide the one thing you're going to do to shift that. What are you going to add to your schedule? You can go back to the tips. What are the things that you need to do to shift so that you can be more mindful of it? I'll give you a good example. Our ability to be entertained is something we always do, and we create habits around that. So even notice when you pick up your phone, pause and ask yourself, why am I picking up my phone? Am I just trying to distract myself from the busy? Make intentional choices about how you spend your time. Time is a very limited commodity, so treat it with respect. And as somebody that's in leadership, you need to be thinking about what is the best way to invest my time. It sounds simple, but it's hard. It's hard to change the habit, so don't get frustrated at yourself. Notice and understand that making that shift from that habit, those things that feel good, jumping in, figuring it out, answering the question, those give you a sense of accomplishment, especially in times of stress, pressure, frustration. That feels really good. But for your future self, be thinking about how can you shift your mindset to be more strategic. If this episode resonates with you, I'd love for you to share it with somebody that needs to hear it. A colleague, a friend, someone on your team who's heads down more than you think they need to be. Or you think they're such a great thinker, they need to spend more time giving their wisdom to others. And if you like this, if you like practical, real strategies you can use, head over to negotiationlove.com. I'd love for you to sign up to Monday Minute, where you will hear more. And if you want my book, The Art of Everyday Negotiation Without Manipulation, it's on Amazon. You can go to my website and get it at a discount. And I will tell you, I'm about to record my own voice reading my book, and I'm going to add to it what I've learned from my clients, myself. And it's been really fun to reread that book because I realize it is really good. I'm really proud of my past self for getting that done. So don't miss out. That's your first step in understanding what a negotiator mindset is. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. I'm so glad you made the commitment to be here today. Remember, negotiation is more than a skill. It's a mindset. Until next time.